Okay, man hearts failing fear. So how true the prophecy of Jesus we see in Luke 21, 25, and 26 concerning the present time. We bear witness that the seas and waves are warring, and that fear is now covering the nation as shown by unusual heart failures that is now occurring amongst men. These are the signs of the end of the present world. So Jesus says the seas and oceans will rise into a perplexity that man has never seen before. This is another pledge that's set on the wicked. The seas and ocean are heaving up tidal waves to a magical height that man never seen before on earth. See, this is another pledge that's on the wicked. Since this holy Quran teaches that the judgment will be such that the earth itself will act as though a revelation has been revealed to it, because of its perfect obedience to the laws of Allah on that day. Allah will use the power that is in the earth and the sea against the world of evil. The right race thinks that they have control of the power of the earth, sea, and air. It was prophesied that for a time they will subdue and have the use of the power of the sea and ocean until he comes, who right it is to rule. The heaven and earth belongs to Allah God. Now is his time to rule. There is much prophecy concerning the terribleness of the judgment of the wicked. The power that is in the water is in the hand of Allah God to use it against whom he pleases. The earth, wind, rain, snow, and ice, and earthquakes are controlled by Allah God. It is a fearful sight to see the displays of his power, with the force of nature bowing, submitting to his will. I shall warn you that this is now coming into action against the Western world. There will be the destruction of whole fleets at seas, those which are capable of lying on the ocean and sea bottom will be destroyed. See, the die is set with a foolish people who, like in the time of Noah, could not see the sign of the rain bringing on the flood. Even after the cloud beginning to darken the sky, they did not see the oncoming rain until it actually started to rain. So it is with America. They pay no attention to the sign of the judgment that is now taking place. As the Bible prophesies in Revelation 16:9, they blaspheme the name of God, which has power over these pleasures. How many in America, in the city of Chicago, disbelieve, even mock, and swear at the name of Allah, who have power over the force of nature, on land, sea, and air? Allah God is now doing as it is prophesied we see. The Holy Quran, Surah 13:41, visiting the land and curtaining it of his eyes. The foolish are still foolish until he is cast at in our place, and not turn to the right or left, as it was with the donkey that Balaam was riding. He came to a narrow place between two walls. He could not turn around. He had to stop face to face with angels or be destroyed. The Bible, Numbers 22, 23, and 26. Let it be remembered that Allah God came forth for the redemption to deliver the American black people from their tormentors. Whether we like it or not, he will do this. It's the work of Allah God, which is in effect. Let America use the history of the fall and destruction of ancient Egypt and her Pharaoh. Let the history serve as a warning. They were brought to nothing for the evil done to a people whom Allah God has chosen. For example, of these last days, the law found black slave and their slave master. The Holy Quran Sword 3041 is perfectly true in its prediction of a present day nation, sea, and land power. See, corruption has appeared in the land, and the sea on account of that, which men's hands has made. The most grave mistake the black man is making today is just trying to hold on to the brief and eternity is or that he lived and preached the saving of this white man's world. This is false. See, Jesus did not preach this. Jesus had a few disciples. See, Jesus also cursed the Jews, and not to mention that he was trying to save them, or the Caucasian people. They are teaching a trigonometry the white man used to deceive the black man. They do this so that our people will not understand that he has declared himself against the world or the Caucasian race, the Bible. He also declared that the word of truth had no place in this right race of people. They have proved this to be the truth by the mistreatment of you and me. The right race had never worshipped any prophets before or after Jesus as a divine man of Allah God. It's against their very nature to do this. That is why they kill all other prophets that they are able to kill. They deceive the people against believing in the prophets of Allah God, for they was made in their nature to be the enemies of God and his representatives. Before the time is out, they'll be forced into submission to the will of Allah God. This will not be done for the purpose of converting the right race, Allah God, but force them into submission to prove that he is able to make everything bow to him into submission. This is in fulfillment to the prophecy, the Bible, Isaiah 45:23. And to me, every knee shall bow. Return shall swear. The Bible says, Matthew 25:32. Before him shall we gather all nations. Holy Quran has a similar prophecy that you shall see all nations kneeling before him. This includes everybody, regardless to their color. Everything in the universe obeyed the natural laws, which was made subject to by Allah God. And the coming of Allah God now makes everything bow to him, whether you believe or disbelieve. Holy Quran Surah, chapter 382, does not make a difference to him, whether you are the devil or the righteous. All must bow in submission to the will of Allah God on the judgment day. We are now living in the day of judgment. Black preachers, you erase your time and leading yourself and those who follow you to hell by holding on to Christianity. Revelation 19:20. You cannot keep them in Christianity. Christianity was not the religion of Jesus, Moses, or any other prophets who came before them. It would have been inferior on the part of Allah, God, to have waited until just 2,000 years ago to give the right religion to the world of man. Allah, God, give man the right religion, Islam, in the beginning of his creation of the heavens and earth. Allah, God, has not changed. His religion is Islam, entire submission to his will. Hell erupts. Why are the nation angry? Who are the nation that are angry at the resurrection of the dead? We see the 18th verse of this 11th chapter of this Revelation. And the Bible plainly teaches us that these nations are angry and mad because of the rise of the dead. The God himself was the source of the power behind the resurrection of a rise of a mentally dead people, the black man. It is these slaveholders who have been the real cause of a mental death of the people. The revelation relates to as being deprived of justice. God come to give them justice to justify them as being equal to their slave masters as human beings. As you know, from the 400 years of legal slavery and free slavery of the American so-called, they had never been recognized even as a human being. As one devil says, they are only 3/5 of a human being. So they call you they're not even calling us a human being. They're calling you an entity, a mortal, a beast. They're not calling you a human being. See, you are less than 3/5 of a human being. See, it is true that the history of our treatment by the devil scientists practically made our parents and ourselves less than human beings. This is why I teach that the main right we seek first are human rights. The American so-called Negro fall in love with his slave master and his slave master children because unlike attract them and their brothers. In Africa, therefore the manifestation of the enemy, the devil, and the resurrection makes the dead to see that which caused them to be mentally dead. In the parable of the donkey who piled out meeting with the angels, he saw that the burden he had been carrying on his back was false, Balaam. So in the resurrection of a mentally dead so-called Negro, they are rising to acknowledge the self. This knowledge make them mute or refuse to continue to carry the slave as something to worship. This have angered the slave masters as the donkey refused to anger Balaam. Balaam set about whooping and beating the donkey to force him as unusual to carry and respect him as his master. This use of force to compel the one slave, the black Americans, to remain with them, even now in order to make them members of the society is only false recognition of the black American, this lost and now found people of the black nation of Asia and Africa. This continual cruelty by the white slave master inflicted upon the American so-called have angered God as the cruelty the Egyptian inflicted upon the Israelites during the time of Pharaoh anger Jehovah. This is a repetition of Israel history and of Pharaoh evil in these modern times. The appearance of Jehovah and of Moses, the servant of Jehovah, to announce to Pharaoh the end of Israel's slavery. Pharaoh became angry and went to work and tried to instruct and to bring to nothing Jehovah's delivery of Israel through his servant Moses. This brought Pharaoh to his end, and he and his army was cast to the Red Sea because they tried to prevent the freedom of Israel by the God Jehovah. The angry nation refers to white America and European who were also enslavers of the black man. Take, for instance, the part that England, Germany, France, and Italy had all played in enslavement of black Africans and black people throughout Africa and Asia, here in America, North and South America. There is no such thing in nature of white people as justice and freedom for black people, especially not for the blacks in the Western Hemisphere. Now the anger is running them mad, and they are attacking and killing each other. There is no such thing as peace amongst them, nor can they produce peace for others. The Holy Quran refers to this condition as the kind up of hell, Surah 81. So there is no peace, as you can see, as they call themselves peacemakers. See, peacemakers, they want to go into the world after all the years they made trouble. It won't to go into the fortune country as the presidents do. And he's like a hateful bird, you see. And the hateful bird goes into these fortune countries to make a way to discuss all the problems that the country is having. And you're wondering why he's hated by all of the other birds. Because he's a hateful bird. And that hateful bird thrives. He thrives on the carcass, and he continually thrives, not realizing that he's hated. See, so that hateful bird, that world leader, is hated by all the fortune countries. There can't be peace, as these so-called peacemakers call themselves. You see, today there are peace breakers. Their mind is set today on earthly things. They don't have a mind to be set on heavenly things. Your mind is set on these earthly things. So we see, never before have you witnessed it. The evil that is spreading far and wide every hour of the day in America and Europe. We see England and America being not the first, but the chief slave makers of black people. They just like the idea of having a lot of dispose of their power over the nickel. Though they knew this was coming, the loss of their slaves. This is the time of increase of knowledge. God has given the black man of America more light into this increase of divine knowledge than any black elsewhere, because he chose to make for himself a great nation out of the former slaves of America. Why America is angry at God for resurrecting the black slave to acknowledge herself and the slave master. This means that they are entering into a war with Almighty God Allah to try to oppose the truth of God preached by the messenger of God. Read the second Psalm. The Great Commotion. The Great Commotion of the governments and people of America. The civil unrest, insurrection, mental excitement, and noisy confusion. There is no action that is being taken, nor can there be any action taken that will bring the people into a better condition. A civil action. The white American people have practiced evil and injustice to the man in the mud, the black slave, for so long that they think that there will never be any divine action taken against them for such evil and injustice. But this is what is now affecting, and it is the action of divine justice for the poor man, black slave. Allah God and the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, has the power. And he's using his power on the wicked to bring them to their knees. Allah God is the greatest. There is no equal to him. Allah God can take us by our own way of thinking and spin us as though we are a play toy. We cannot fight a successful fight against him. He is too powerful. Listen in on our thinking. And he is capable of making us to think and to do that which he desired to be done. The great commotion today is witnessed by the nation of the earth. For it is America whom Allah God is after for mistreatment of the poor so-called nickel, the law found with no black members of their nation. America mistreatment incurs her black slave for sport, but America days is drawing to a close, and she will not have the freedom to mistreat the black one slave much longer. Good morning, top of the morning. The last days, yes sir, the last days, my brother, as we see the mistreatment of the Egyptian practice against Israel came to end. So will this mistreatment of the black slave by white America come to end? Yeah, the judgment of America has come. Her judgment has come. God didn't visit you. God is visiting her, and she has been visited, and it been thou far that we see, and been a year thou far that God been pleasuring her day and night. They've been storming day and night throughout her lands, throughout her cities, throughout the countries. You've been witnessing it, and it's going to get so terrible that the Holy Quran says it's going to make children's grave head. And see, when God pushed us into the center of the earth, you're going to realize that is God. You're going to realize that the people will be pushed into the center of the earth, and they're going to realize that it's God coming. So we see America has so blind and made deaf, dumb, the black man in America, her black one slave, that she makes empty promises to the black slave. And he was And he will separate false promise and forsake the true promise of Allah God, to whom praise are due forever, who is here often as heaven at once. The great commotion will continue in America until commotion has been destroyed, the power of opposition. The disaster. The title of this chapter is taken from this Holy Quran. We see Surah 101, 1 and 4. The disaster. What is the disaster? We will make you know how terrible is this disaster. In the English language, according to the Western Dictionary, the word disaster means a state of deep distress, misery caused by major misfortune, a loss or a great event marked by great loss, and lasting distress and infliction. Such disaster is now prevailing in America. We see it's getting worse daily. The third verse of this chapter of the Holy Quran, Surah 101, verse 3, asks a question. Will make you know how terrible is the disaster. Answer is given in the fourth verse. The day wherein men will be as scattered as moths. We do not have to ask anyone whether or not this warning of the Holy Quran is now being fulfilled. We see this fulfillment of this prophecy with our eyes and hear with our ears. These great disasters that are now striking America. We see the great division, the great disagreement, see disunity, and murder of man. We see the great amount of raping and murdering of girls and women. There's great robbery and thief going on every hour of the day and night. There are great storms and adverse weather conditions. There are minor earth tremors and hailstorms. There are signs and wonder signs being displayed in the heavens and the earth and on sea and land. There is unusual behavior of children. There is unusual love or dislike of children by mothers and fathers, and destruction of the process of childbirth. There is great disaster, starvation, and great destruction of health and life by the use of administering poison drugs, which is practiced upon those who are free and those who are bound. See, this is why Jesus was speaking of the hatred of the world. He was saying, you got brothers will brothers will betray each other. You have children will rebel against their parents. All these things is being played. What had been known, we see as America is threatened today with total destruction. America destroyed herself in her effort to destroy her black slaves. The water and air of America are being polluted by chemical use. America's Science of War conducts dreadful experiment on how best to kill human beings by the millions and wipe out lives of whole continents. See, the beast did a good job. The beast eats what's on his plate and some. And see, America, their plan is how to wipe out people, how to destroy a population, and how to depopulize a population. Ever since they hit that pandemic on us, and you get their politicians to encourage you get vaccine, they will never tell you what's in the vaccine. They will never tell you. This is how much the people need to seek refuge in God like never before. You know, in that revelation, you will find out in that very 13th chapter, verse 16, how he required those people, if you were rich, poor, free, slave, you will have to have the mark. You couldn't go in, you couldn't buy, you couldn't trade, you couldn't rent, unless you had the marking. You couldn't go in. In most states today, I won't be surprised they require mandates And saying this, brothers and sisters, saying this to you, what is your life? Because you're like a mist that appears and gone. You see, you wonder why people here today and they gone tomorrow. But now people here today and they gone by the end of the day. What is your life? Because America's scientists of war conducts this dreadful experiments on how best to kill human beings by the millions and wipe out lives of whole continents now. See, these are the days, I want to say, of fulfillment of prophecy are not one, but of many disasters, but in all of these preparations, a destruction of human life. But the devil, Allah God too has planned to save his people. Allah God has claimed over the black slave as being his people. And the white slave holders is angry because of the loss of the black slave by the virtue of these claims. See, you've been bitten. You've been bitten so many times. You've been bitten by this snake. To God to move that venom that you've been bitten so many times. Our people been this bitten. You know, a wolf is dressed nice. A wolf is made of sheep clothing. And when I say he can despise himself, see, that's what Satan do. He despises himself into this angel of light. He despises himself as being like God. He used tactics and trickery and trigonology. He used all this to deceive the black man and woman. But Allah God comes to take this black slave away from this enemy, white slave holders, and join the black slave into his own kind again. We see the enemy, white slaveholder, hates this, but Allah God has the power to force the enemy, white slaveholder, to submit to his will. It is the will of Allah God that the enemy, white slaveholders, let these black slaves go free. Allah God promises concerning the white slaveholders and the black slave. We see the Bible. We see what Isaiah 43 verse 6 says. I say to the north, bring that back into the south. Bring my son from afar and my daughters from the end of the earth. America, since Allah God has now claimed the black slave, giving them the truth, Allah God has called this black slave who has accepted truth by his name. The black slave who has accepted truth of his greatness and being one of the righteous nation of his kind belong to Allah God. The book must be fulfilled, wherein it prophesied that he will claim them to be his own elect. We are the elect. The black man of America are the elect people. Know that. Know who you are. So you got to discover who God is. You got to name who the devil is and name the beast that he been. See, like Joseph was in the land of slavery. You see. We see, so at such time as the destruction of America, if Allah God has not chosen some of the people of America, the black slave, to be his people, there will not have been any flesh saved from America. The book Mark 13:20 teaches us, except that the Lord has shortened those days, no flesh will be saved, but for the elect's sake, who he has chosen, he has shortened the days. The black slave must know that this is the time of the judgment of both the white slaveholders and the black slave. The black slave must learn to know his place in the judgment. The place of the black slave is with Allah God and his own black people. The black slave had been deprived of knowledge of his God and his own black people. Allah God has come and brought this black slave the truth. The black slave refused to accept the truth. He would be destroyed for willingly and knowingly rejecting the truth when the truth have come and is millers. Disaster, disaster we see in the country of America. No secret can be remain hidden. For the chastisement of Allah God will not let you hide. As one writer prophesies, we see in the Bible, Isaiah 18, verse 1, whom to the land shadowy wings. This prophecy is referring to America, which have a cloud of plain shadowing skies over America almost daily. Now, can America exist? See, the coming of this white man to the Western hemisphere was for the purpose of expansion away from his brethren in Europe. See, Europe was divinely given to the right race as a home when it was driven out of Arabia 6,000 years ago to abide there on that continent till the days of reckoning comes to them. See, these are the days of reckoning for the right race as religious scholars and scientists agree. Because of their nature evil, they cannot help doing evil things against the righteous. They make war against the righteous, the black man, to prevent him from accepting righteousness. And they're doing a righteousness. Today, the black man in America is a prey into the strong, powerful hands of his enemies, the children of their slave masters. For 400 years, we see the slave master have mistreated their slaves. And now, in the day of the redemption, they are doing everything possible to save them from accepting their starvation that Allah now offers to the black man of America. So strong is Allah's love for us that he now desires nothing but a total destruction of America. They hate me with a bloody hatred, and they tried to kill me for teaching the truth to my people. They do not want this black man of America to enjoy freedom, justice, and equality. Look what they did to Martin Luther King, a man who was trying to be their brothers, a man who probably thought that he did not want to draw the white man's blood. He said if there was any blood to be spilled, let it be the black man's blood. His words came true, poor man. He was without the knowledge of self, his God, and religion. So fear with fear of his 400-year-old enemy. He will never get starvation from his people, from the enemies. America had been blessed ever since our fathers came across the Atlantic, out of the confines of Europe, until this day. Now her evil done to her slave, we see God threaten her with total destruction. America and Germany are the most evil of the right race. These two governments have been blessed, but they have not shown any worthwhile respect to Allah for his blessing. Allah calls people out of all nations of the earth. Come to America. They came seeking heaven and earth, but, but those who came was evil too, as the Revelation language teaches us. Revelation 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, America, the great is falling, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. There is no people, nor country on earth who will feel this prophecy better than America and her people. She has become a house filled with evil practice, with every member of the nation taking part. Yet she had been blessed with a great harvest of food, which is enough to feed the nations of the earth, and with her great advancements into the heights of her mechanical knowledge, and with her great wealth in silver and gold that enabled her once upon a time to command the value of silver or gold of the world. But as it is written, all of this growing up of wealth and power, the act of justice was led at the roots of this great tree of prosperity and authorities of the nations of the earth to be used by the Holy One to put a stop to their evil practices and injustice to the righteous. America had prospered from the labors of a black slave. He pays this black man high wages and salaries and then take them back from him to the high cost of living. This high cost of living, or trying to live according to the way the white man lives, we see keeps this black man down. And when he has inquired, the education of this white man is unable to complete with the white man, become dissatisfied to the degree of creating trouble to find a way to self prosperity against the will of the white man, which is to keep this black man in a condition of poverty one and disregard as equal human being. Yet, while the white man teaches that all human beings are created accordingly, at the same time he robbed this black man of a chance to be the equal of other human beings. Now, how can they call you a human being when they are calling you and making you a three-fifths of a human being? So you've been either for an entity, a mortal, a menace. So he's named you a beast. He named you a menace to whom? To yourself and kind. So you are no longer who you are. You see what he made you. So you never knew that you was a full human being because you don't have no equal rights. So they continue the existence. So the continued existence we see of America in a way of her government and power over people, other than her own, depends on the way she will continue to treat her one slave, the black man of America, due to the prophecy of the Bible from Moses to Jesus and Muhammad. The prophetess saying of these prophets teach us that a coming showdown between Allah God and the slaveholders of his black people, black America, must come to pass. The time has arrived and the prophecy of the defender coming to defend the prey, so-called Negro, who is held in bondage by the white slaveholders, and who have and are still mistreating the prey to the extent that the world is in sympathy with the prey for justice. Now it is prophesied that a just ruler will come, and he have come to set up a rule or kingdom under laws of justice for a people who have lived under laws of injustice by unjust rulers. This must be fulfilled. The next government for the people universe is going to be under such a glorious rule of freedom, justice, and equality. It is natural that the old ruler will oppose a new ruler coming to remove him and his authority to rule the people. He will fight to keep his place and authorities over the people. This is why Allah threatens his opponents with the final declaration war that will end the opponent's opposition to his laws of righteousness. I have been writing for many years of the coming doom of the world of Christianity, mainly America, who is the root and cause of this present judgment of America. The judgment of America is due to the way that she has treated the so-called the black people of America for 400 years. The very hour in which I'm writing, America still mistreats her one slave with the worst kind of treatment ever according to human beings. America practiced the way of her father's mistreatment of the American so-called under what she called a law of freedom. But this freedom is only in words, not in practice. The slave master children's blood, heart, and way of thinking towards the one slave is the same as their father's. They find it so afraid to beat